Some of y'all know I recently picked up a 3D printer and I've been doing some 3D printing stuff, and this is the solder guide for the AIOC. There's also a couple of 3D printed cases out there to house your AIOC, and all the times that I have made my AIOCs before without the 3D printed solder guide have not allowed me to connect these things up inside of the cases. Let me show you. This one here is the one that I did 5 years ago now, I guess. It's been a long time. If I put it in this case here, it looks like it's pretty good. And I didn't have the solder guide when I did this. So that one's not too bad. But then here is one that I have recently done, again, using my Baofeng UV5R solder guide. So let's put that one out and put this one in. And it's just not quite fitting in. You can see that the plugs are splaying out the side hole there, kind of thing. So that's not going to work terribly well. Now they're inside, and they should be on the outside, I believe. Yeah, because that USB-C port is a little askew there. So that's going to be a little hard to do. So that one doesn't work with that setup. Let's see, does it work with this setup? So that one exposes more of the plugs. The USB-C port looks good, but still a little crooked. And I'm not sure what that is about. And then that case, it kind of rocks. And not like, yeah, but more like, eh. It kind of rocks back and forth. So let's try my older original. This one's a little hard to get out. We'll make it happen. We'll make it work. See if this one here fits in any better. Yeah, those legs stick out. Yeah, see, that one fits in good. So I don't know what I did with this one here that I didn't do with this one here, but it needs to be replicatable if I'm going to be able to recommend, you know, this is the way to do this thing. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try it 4 times with 4 different set of jacks, and we're going to see if that solves the problem by using this 3D printed solder guide every single time. So let's get started. Now we switch from 3D printed stuff over to how to solder the AIOC together like a pro. So step 1 is you're going to get this in your kit. You get the AIOC itself, the all-in-one cable, which does programming of most ham radios, the ones that have the lump in the USB cable for the serial to USB converter versus the ones that have it built into the radio. It won't program the ones that have it built into the radio, but that's like 3 out of all the radios that are out there. And then it will also do WinLink and APRS and other digital modes, All-Star, all kinds of other crazy stuff. So, pretty valuable thing. You also get the plugs. You get the 2.5 millimeter and you get the 3.5 millimeter, and they come with this extra stuff, which is basically just trash. So you get a little insulator, not needed, trash. You get the strain relief for the cable, not needed, trash. You get the ferrule, the finial, the barrel, the escutcheon, depending on which vernacular you like to use, that pretties everything up, not needed, trash. So those are all gone. And of course, you get 2 sets because I'm a nice guy and give you both sets. So they just unscrew and go right into the trash can. Let me get out my solder station. We'll get this all set up. I use these flush cutters here, and I cut off this part here on the end. You see where that hole is? Come on, focus. Where that hole is in the connector there? I cut off everything to the far side of that, and you know, wear your eye protection because it's going to fly. Or catch it like that. That's good. And then here is my other one. Same thing. There are 2.5 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter holes, so I guess which one goes in which. And then the AIOC itself goes onto the guide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in and push it that way home as far as I can push it home. And these STL files, I'll leave a link in the description down below for all the STL files that I'm working with here today, but they are in the GitHub repo for the AIOC anyhow. So step 1 is to figure out which way goes which. So that means that the single tab goes on the bottom. So 3.5 millimeter jack in the 3.5 millimeter-ish hole, rotated so that the single tab is on the bottom, and push that all the way in until it seats. That is a K-connector problem. If you don't have these guys pushed in all the way, you won't make the proper electrical connection. So we'll put that in all the way, and then this whole thing, I'm going to use the wrong tool for the job, but this whole thing can be rotated somehow, almost. This is why you don't use the wrong tool for the job, folks. It's rotating the wrong way. There we go. All right, so those are both rotated flat, and then put the board in, and it doesn't go all the way down. Interesting. So it is locked in place. That's as far in as it can go by design, because it runs inside of these little guys here. Let me see if I can get a better view for you. Inside, underneath of these two pins, there is a little white piece of plastic, and the board is butting up against the white piece of plastic right in there. Focus. So let's see if this solves the problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this thing run through the soldering process. Then we're going to put it in the case. Then I'm going to put it in a radio. And then we're going to test to make sure that it does its firmware download. And real quick, I'm also going to make sure that I get these connectors all the way in. And again, wrong tool for the job. I don't know what the right tool for this job would be because it hasn't been invented yet. But I just made sure those were all the way pushed in. I could probably just use the board to push it all the way in like so. All right, soldered up. So that means I need my soldering iron, and this is the Pine Sill. This thing is USB-C powered, and like I said, if that offends some people, then you can also power it off of a DC barrel jack. But I am a modern ham, and I understand the benefits of using modern power. And check out how fast that thing warms up. So I think we're doing all right. So I'm going to start off on the back side here. And this is a question I get a lot. On the back side, there are two tabs for the 3.5 millimeter plug here that are split. That is in case you want to use that functionality that requires that split for generic WinLink, APRS, and programming stuff. Just put a solder blob over it, bridge the gap, and you will be perfectly fine. If you have a desire to use the AIOC and maintain that split, then you probably already know why you want to do that. And I don't really need to tell you. But if you don't know why it's there, then it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So let's get some solder on the tip. 3D printed solder wool holder and 3D printed solder station, 3D printed solder stand. I'm working on a 3D printed solder station, so I'm actually testing that out off camera. So don't tell anybody. This is a physical connection, so I would not be skimping on the solder on the physical connection side of things. So basically what I'm doing is I'm getting plenty of solder on both pads, and then because of the way the bridge works, I'm going to solder the connector on the AIOC itself, the connector on the 3.5 millimeter plug, and then if you heat it up right, it'll all just flow, and it'll wind up looking pretty decent overall, because that's the magic of solder. So there we go. Now we'll get the other one done. This one's a little bit easier. I actually can get all the pieces mated up together all at once. And again, plenty of solder to flood that in, and that one looks pretty good now too. So now I just want to double check on the front side of things that my pins are spaced out far enough to not be touching each other and also be over top of their pads. And depending on how you feel about things, you can actually take these guys and bend them down physically so that they line up better with the pad and touch the pad better. So I'm going to do that. And to do that, I should have a nice pair of needle nose pliers, but a little gremlin ran off with them and I don't know where they are. So rotate that to the side, push it down. See, I think I rotated that one too much. Rotate that one to the side, push it down. That one looks decent. Okay, I think that's as good as those guys are going to get. So now we solder these ones down. Did I bridge anything? Nothing bridged. Connection looks pretty good. And then this pad's a lot bigger. That looks pretty good. And that one looks good also. So after letting it cool down for a little bit, taking it out is pretty simple. The 3.5 sticks out just a little bit, so I'll push that down against the table to sort of start the motion. And then she just slides right out. So now we're going to get over to the programming station and try programming it. But before we do that, did that actually make the case work? How's my case worker? I guess that would make me the case worker. Okay, so she fits in there. Nothing's splayed out. The metal parts are on the outside. The lid snaps right into place. So that's a perfect fit there. I like that. So you can see these guys here are relieved through the top. But if he was to make a cover on that, then that would make the whole AIOC case itself look a little bit thicker to account for the thickness in there. So this one here is probably as svelte and tiny as it can be. Comes right back apart, protects your AIOC, everything is good. This is the bigger case, Let's see if it fits on this. Okay, so that isn't crooked anymore like it used to be. Those guys both seem to fit in there just fine. And that case is still a rockin'. So what happened? What's making the case rock? So there is a stress relief, strength guide, anti-crush device, whatever. That's in there. Push that down all the way. Make sure that's not the problem. Okay, there we go. That's better. Now I think it's rocking because I'm really trying hard to make it rock, not because it's actually rocking. So both cases seem to fit pretty well. And this one has cutouts to put the programming jumper on, but I don't know that you'd be able to do that very well with the case on. And then it has some cooling fins on it, and then you can see the LED lights pop out of it. This one here is a little bit of a different design. There is no way to see the programming interface, and then there's a little light hole in the side. So both good cases, and like I said, one is a bit thicker than the other, but not a whole lot. All right, off to programming. Read it in, and she's working. And the radio reboots, and we're in business. So programming, reading, and writing works just fine. So now what I need to do is go through and do the other 3 in the series and verify that they all work. I'll do that off camera to save you the absolute boredom of watching somebody else solder something 3 more times after already doing it once. And then I'll give you the results. Hang tight. Well, success. All 4 of them programmed the radio just fine. All 4 of them were done with the solder guide, and all 4 of them fit in both of the 2 cases that are out there. It works, it does the thing, and it is repeatable. So if you don't want to risk your high-priced radio, then I will have these solder guides and one of the 2 cases. There's no reason to do both of them in the store. And I'll also include the STL links if you happen to have your own 3D printer. You can print them off yourself. But they're pretty easy to find if you have your own 3D printer. I just grabbed them off of the websites that are out there for them. So that's 4 more happy customers of AIOCs. So if you like playing around with soldering irons and digital equipment and 3D printers and ham radio and all that jazz, this is the channel for you. Make sure you're subscribed to see more when they come out. I've got a video for you right over here I think you might enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.